Hi people, how's it going? I'm Chris I am and welcome to TerraFirmaGreg second episode. It has been a while since the last time I recorded, but I've been busy with college and work and whatnot, so I really haven't had the time to record, but here I am. I have the script right in front of me, so I'll try to do something with all of this. So, in the last episode, we made our way across the Stone Age, we explored part of the island, I think, and we placed an ice shelter and did some work with crops. From now on, we are moving to the Copper Age. Okay, Copper Age, we need copper. That's our first step in this era. We wanna get enough for the early stage in order to avoid going back and forth. These small rocks are copper. Each one has around 20 MB of copper, and we need more than 100 for a single tool. There is copper here, but it is not enough. There is a vein underground, of course, that's what it means when there is copper on the surface, but we do not have the tools to get that. Let's set up a fire pit, cook something, and we will collect copper at daytime. The other place where we found copper is in the far west, so let's go there. Getting closer, and man, the views from here during the night are kinda cool. We got enough copper, so it is time to go back home. For the first stage, the important tools are 3: pickaxe, pro pickaxe, and saw. First thing is crafting the molds using clay. We are making 4 of each. Also, some large vessels. We fire all of that just like usual. In the meanwhile, we want to chop down some trees and hunt a little. Man, I hate chopping down trees, it's so slow! Ceramic is ready. We have to put the molten copper in the molds, and we gotta do some math. We need this exact amount of copper to fill up a mold, and we are gonna fill up 3 of them. That is, for the saw, the pickaxe, and the prospector pick. Thus, we need this exact amount. Finally, since each piece of copper has 16 MB worth of this element, we gotta use 27 for the job. So we put them inside a vessel. To melt the copper down, we do the same as for the ceramic, putting the vessel in a hole with the strong locks, that is. The vessel with the molten copper inside will be hot as hell, so to handle it we need tongs. Now we have to wait for it to be actually hot. The molten copper must be poured into the molds, but we gotta be fast, because it won't be hot for long. Just like so, we got the first 3 tool heads. For getting them free, we have to break the molds, and combining the heads with the sticks, we got the actual usable tools. To this point, we've been using the resources of nature, but with science we can shape what nature has to offer for the sake of human convenience. What I am saying is, from now on, we are gonna make lumber from logs. It took 6 hours to get a normal-ass crafting bench, Jesus Christ. First thing we are gonna make are barrels. We can fill them up with water, so we can actually get water just by the base. That way, we don't have to walk all the way to the nearby lake to get some water. Chests, which we are also gonna make, are possible from now on. Large vessels are still useful because they can be sealed for the food to last longer, so we are gonna keep some of them around. Now, the copper we have available at the moment is limited, and thus we are in operation. But here is the thing, where we found the small pieces of copper, there must be a vein underground, so let's make a mine where we found the first pieces of copper. It's kinda far, so we are making a canoe. This is the first infrastructure available, if you will. For canoes we need softwood, and there's pine by the woods. Once the pine log is on the floor, we used an axe to stripe it, then we used the saw to split the said log. Finally, we used fire on the canoe to get rid of the wood inside. After some waiting, the fire is off and the canoe is ready. I made this not only for moving faster, but also because we can carry a chest on top. With enough food and water, we can use this to cross the sea like no problem. Canoes, as in, will move away with the stream, and that's a problem. So let's do our first piece of rope to tie down the side canoe. We will use jute for that mission. We soaked jute in water to separate the fibers jute is made of. Once soaked, we got the fibers that now can be used to craft rope or the alternatives, like, tie. With these and fences, which we can now make from lumber, it is possible to tie down the canoe, and so we did. Now let's mine, finally. We are digging out a hole in the ground with a ladder for going up and down. The prop pic will tell us if the terrain here has copper to offer. There's copper, nice. Now we can set up the camp. There it is, we made it cozy as hell. We will feed from nature, so no need to worry about that, and we can go mining now. Let me explain the prop pic as I make the cave prettier. When you do a right click on a block, it will tell you if there is copper in a 25 by 25 by 25 around that block you just clicked. That makes for 12 blocks in every direction around that given block. And since I've explained how the prop pic works, let's try to find copper, not by digging, but by using our monkey brains. Also, I'm writing the script as I play, and writing what I'm doing will be helpful, actually. First thing first, we know there is copper somewhere around this block right here. You put touch to mark that location. Okay, we didn't find any vein, so we gotta look for the vein in the next layer. Okay, now we have to do the same as above, that is, corridors in 4 directions. There it is, fellas, copper. Oh man, I'm happy. This pickaxe is almost over, but we are gonna get lots of copper just from a little digging, so we don't really need to craft another. To be honest, I've been trying to find copper for the last 2 days, and I mean IRL. I did a lot of backups trying to figure out how mining works. In fact, I went into creative a couple times in different copies of the save. Mining is so hard, so fucking hard, that I literally did not find copper in creative. As I said a couple times, infrastructure is one of the most important aspects of this mod pack. As such, I want to have a decent mine, easy to navigate and easy to expand in the future. So let's go back home to make a good amount of pickaxe, which we are gonna be using for making the mine bigger and for obtaining even more copper. Back home, I went to the farm first. The crops are doing well, the bushes in particular. This makes enough food to keep us going. The problem with fruit is the expiration time. We can partially resolve that by putting the fruit in sealed vessels, so let's do that. Back to the forging, since we have the copper we needed, we'll make 3 pickaxes, cause that's the amount of molds we have. The process is the usual. We know that each head needs this given amount of copper, so we put that 3 times in a vessel. As we know, we have to break the molds to make the tool head free. Thus, every time we forge, we want to kinda double the amounts of molds we have. So for this time, we are gonna fire 7 molds. There goes the first head, there goes the second, and there goes the third. We got some leftover copper in the vessel, which we can just throw somewhere, cause I don't need the hassle of melting the content again, and copper is fairly common in the world. So let's craft the tools and head back to the mines. First thing first is making the corridors to the copper in the second layer taller and wider. Not like we need to do that, but as I always say, infrastructure is really important, and having a mine easy to navigate counts for that. There is work to do at home, so I don't think we will be here long enough to break our 3 pickaxes from getting copper alone, but the general idea is to do so before moving to the next stage in the copper age. Pyrite. Around. Is it pronounced like that? I am not sure. It sounds like, the people that sailed in the Caribbean, in the movies and shit. I don't know. It's made of iron and sulfate, but mainly of iron. Pyrite is known as fool's gold, by the way, due to the fact that it looks like actual gold. It's at the same time a sulfate mineral. These are minerals containing sulfate. With certain process, it is possible to split both of them, the metal and the sulfate, from each other. Chemistry is the art of taking stuff out and in, after all, for the making of new materials. We just found another really big cave. We are throwing a torch to see how deep it is. Well, not that much, and there's copper. I fell, yeah, fuck. But it is time to go outside because we are done with the mining. Let's go back home with our treasure made of ore. It is time to do the next step in the copper age. There is a chest full with ore we got as transport, but actually we can carry the whole content in our mine inventory. I'll put all the ore I have with the ore I already brought back that I had earlier. This is the total we have at the moment. It's gonna be enough for the whole age of copper. By the way, we are checking over the crops and everything is alive. We want them dead so we can collect more seeds than otherwise. Well, I'd like to start the next big step in the copper age. The truth is, winter is almost here, and those are hard. So this next step in the copper age is about doing chores and surviving winter. During this winter, I want to replace every tool made of stone for copper tools. Also, I've been thinking what type of weapon we want to use. Things like swords are an option, but I think we will use a copper javelin for now, because it's useful for hunting. While the pit is burning, we went to the farm, so you died. We are going to harvest it to see if we can get more than one seed from this. And yes, in fact we did it. We cannot plant more jute until next spring due to the weather during winter. Okay, here are the molds after firing them. Let's craft tools now. As usual, we fill a vessel with just enough copper for the tools we are gonna make. Back to the pit, we are pouring the copper in the molds. This is how much molds we have at the moment. It's important to mention that we could stop working with molds probably and move to forging, but that's a big step and more important things must be done before. Okay, we only need 2 more tools, I think, a hoe and a chisel. So let's craft 3 molds for each one and let's cook them. Fellas, we have snow. And it's not that cold though. We are crafting a pickaxe, a chisel, a knife and a hoe. The tool heads are ready. By the way, we can throw them on the barrel we made earlier with water to cool them down. And just like so, we replaced all the tools with tools made of copper. I'd like to put them on the walls, but we don't have any. Okay, let's actually build some walls in the house. But first thing first, we need to make the hut bigger by 2 blocks at least. We need thatch for the roof, and here there is a lot, and I am actually thinking I want to put the roof down now, so we don't have to, fight the snow. Okay, this is the size of the hut now. I think it's fairly big. We are gonna put the walls now. The snow stopped, but it is here again. I'm glad we finished the roof first. It's really cold too, 3 below 0 at the moment, and again, this is just late autumn. I am glad we got to keep the sticks from the wood chopping, because we are gonna using lots of them. There you are, the walls are done. The building itself isn't done yet, but we are gonna organize the chests first. They got messy from moving them 1 block. Okay, the chest mission or whatever has been completed. Now, the walls are just sticks, right? So we have to make them stronger. We are making dove or dove or dove or dove or whatever the pronunciation is. This is one of the earliest construction materials mankind came up with. It's mud combined with straw. In the woods we are digging out there. Then we crafted the actual dove. Then, and finally, we fill the walls of sticks with the said dove. The house feels way more cozy and warm now. I won't put walls on the open sides though, not for now. The great thing about having walls and the reason to make them is that we can put racks in. There you are, it looks amazing. Well, the house mission has been completed for this winter, but there is more to do this winter. A composter, for example, a composter, as seen, is just a barrel with dirt inside. We are building a small roof for the composters because they must not come in contact with the snow or rain. That will mess the compost. Now, how do we make compost? Well, for the most part, we only need to put stuff in. Meat and bones will make the compost deadly for plants, so we are not doing that. For now, we are using the rotten fruit and veggies we have in the vessels. So, for a composter, we need the same amount of green mass as brown mass, 16 of each, exactly. As for the brown mass, leaves to the job, but only by a little. But it's the only material we have at the moment for the job, so we will use that. Driftwood, the wood you can find by the beach, is extremely good for this, but there is none due to winter. By the way, I yet have to decide how far from the mic I wanna be when recording, so yeah, you will see some changes now and then as I try different positions. In particular, this distance I am using right now, this far apart from the mic I am right now, is pretty solid, I think, isn't it? Anyways, we are collecting leaves for the composter. I would like to have compost ready for spring. Humus, is it pronounced like that? Humus? Humus also makes for a good brown material, and there is a lot in the forest. Let me put a chest here for composting related stuff only. Well, bros, it's the first day of the new year. We've survived an entire year with the power of science. I am also writing down, as I check the weather and as I go, a spreadsheet with crops info so we can know for a fact what can grow when. There are more types of crops, of course, but they need lots of water in the ground, so they are not worth of mention, at least not till irrigation. We are done with almost every task for this winter. The last thing to do, I think, it's building a warehouse close to the crops to store all the things related to them. For the warehouse, the structure won't be too complicated. We are building this like the hut we made in the Stone Age. This is Minecraft, so the hardest, and not hardest, but annoying part is moving stuff from one place to the other. We are gonna move the composters as well, but it's necessary to wait for the compost to get completed. As for the composters, I am thinking we could increase the amount of them. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, winter is still here and we don't have shit to do, so yeah, let's do that. We are expanding the roof to fit the new composters. Okay, composters are in place. We will feed them all during winter because winter is for basic chores and building infrastructure and whatnot, but during the other seasons, who cares? It's already late winter. I might haven't told this, I don't remember. Each season has a duration of 8 days. That makes for 96 days in a year. Considering that, winter will be over in 4 days. Which is okay, because the chores we plan to do are actually completed. Let's start with the next step in the Copper Age. As you may remember, in the Stone Age we started farming. That made for veggies and fruit. However, we are still hunting deer and bears and whatnot. Right now, mankind will climb his way up in the food chain. So welcome, my people, to the time of domestication. Let's build a corral before catching any animal. And there you go, we have to catch the animal. Okay, alpaca over there. Jesus Christ, this is actually slower than in vanilla Minecraft. Male alpaca already in the corral. We can get wool, leather and meat from this species, animals necessary for producing milk and now at our disposal. Leather and food to go, right? And I'm thinking about cows and pigs for that, and we gotta find the opposite gender of the animals we already have to. Okay, I can see lots of alpacas on the map. We are taking all of them to the farm. I do consider we have enough alpacas to show you how animals work in this game. Let's take goats as the example to work with because I got a male and a female already. So, goats give milk, that's for a fact. But to get the milk, we need to best friendly with them. That means we have to feed them. As you can see, every time we feed these cute fellas, the familiarity thingy increases. We cannot spam this, though. Here is the thing, animals get older from giving birth or if we get the thing they produce, like milk or wool. I'm exploring and I saw a duck. Chickens have better ratios, but ducks will do the same job just fine, and they are way more cute. By the way, I haven't shown you the bushes for a while. This is how it is going. Most of them are still growing. They don't really need any maintenance, so we don't have to put a limit for the size of this. I also want to work on the crops because, yeah, it's harvest time. Okay, here are the results of the harvesting we did. Funny enough, we are kinda living here instead of the mine hut because we aren't doing any metal working as for the date. We will use both buildings at our discretion. Okay, let's do something. I have an idea. From now on, the first 4 rows of every crop will be used for letting the crops to rot to get more seeds from them. We are planting youth. I think for the first time it is useful for clothing and rope. I wanna talk a little about grain or the plant that has the grain. It will go rotten pretty fast. We can use a knife, like so, to take the actual grain, which will last way longer. We can feed the ducks with grain, which is important, and the goats eat grain as well. Familiarity won't decrease if it goes above 30, which is important, because it means we don't have to constantly feed goats and ducks and whatnot. Well, back to the animals, so Roche tip all along we have 3 species, but there is one more animal we gotta get. And that animal shaped mankind history. We are gonna get horses. There are some close by, I think. Yeah, this fella right here will do. We need to best friend this fella now, and we need a saddle for riding the horse, which is made of leather, but this is TerraFirmaGreg, so yeah, there are like 100 steps for making leather. We need 3 materials for this: hide, flax, and a certain type of wood. We do have hide and we do have wood. The flax is close by. Flax can be made from seashells, and there is a lot of that in the shoreline. Then we use a hammer to turn the seashells into dust. We don't have a hammer nor molds though, so we will do metal working and clay working. Then we cook the molds on the hole, well, not on the hole, but in any hole, with wood and straw. With the ceramic fired, now we put copper inside a vessel and then the vessel in the hold to melt the ore. Once the ore has been melted, it goes into the molds. And with a stick, we made the hammer. Finally, using the hammer in the crafting grid, we crush the seashells to make flax. We have flax, wood and hide. The process to get leather is going to be made in the farm hut because it's a livestock related product. We need to soak the hide in lime, which is an alkali solution. In order to make lime, we will combine flax and water in a barrel. And we've got lime water, so let's put the rawhide in the lime water to get rid of the unwanted stuff. It takes some time for the hide to be totally soaked. There you are, the hide has been soaked. All the tissues and the like came loose, so we used a knife to get rid of all of that. This right here is scraped hide. It has to be washed, so we filled a second barrel with water and put the scraped hide inside for some time to get it washed. By the way, is it filled, the past form of fill? I don't freaking remember, so I will go for filled. After some time, the hide has been cleaned from unwanted cells and oils and whatnot. We have to soak the hide in a solution known as tannin. For making tannin, we can use wood and water. For the tannin to be ready, we have to wait. Again. I mean, I could have done this during the previous waiting, you know, when I was doing the lime and whatnot, but I'm trying to make this as clear as possible for y'all. Tanning ready. We have to soak the hide on it, just like we did with the lime before. We got leather. Let's make a saddle. I've been feeding this horse up to 35 familiarity, so we can now try to ride him. And actually, he's totally fine with us riding him. So let's put the saddle on and a name. But I don't know, I will be probably changing the name of this horse as we go. So from now on, he's Sauron the Conqueror. But again, I won't fucking remember that name without a tag, which we can't make right now. And now we could declare the animal gathering mission as completed, but we can do some stuff actually, which we have to. We have hides, so why not starting by making a full armor of leather? That's for leather. Let's work with wool. At the moment we don't have half the things we need, so let's start by the very beginning, stone anvil. We must use a rock as an anvil, but only rocks of a certain type are tough enough. There is a volcano in the far west from which I can get the stone, I think. We will get there real fast using our canoe. Okay, here is the volcano. We are mining around the raw block we want to get so it falls as an actual block. Back home we hammered the stone and we've got ourselves a nice looking anvil. This anvil isn't good enough for proper metal working, we can only weld ingots together. We need a copper anvil for actual metal working, for, you know, shaping the metal. We have to weld ingots together so we can make them bigger so we can craft the copper anvil. For that we have to keep them hot. So we are going to build a primitive forge. We need charcoal to start with. For making charcoal we put a big old pile of wood in a hole which is going to be covered in sand. Right after we put the wood on fire. And now, like so, the wood is burning. It will take some time for the unnecessary components of the wood to be eliminated, so to speak. Okay, it's done. Let's dig out the coal. Now we have to make the forge. The primitive forge is nothing but a hole with the stone around. We filled the inside with charcoal, like so, and now we turn the charcoal on fire. The amount of oxygen in the air is good enough for the temperature we wanna reach for copper working, but it won't be enough in the future, so I'd say we should make a below right away, and this is the recipe. Below in place. I tried to put the ore in a vessel and then to put the vessel on the forge so it would melt inside, but it took a really long time, so we are gonna melt the ore in the forge, just putting the pieces on. The below we made earlier is for the molds in particular, because otherwise the forge wouldn't be hot enough for firing clay. Some time after, the copper got melted and filled up the molds, and right there is our first ingot. Ingots. Why do I have so much problems to pronounce ingots? In any case, casting with ingots is totally different from doing so with a pit, because we can get the mold back. For crafting the anvil, we need to weld ingots together, so we warmed up the copper ingots till they were orange. Then we put this in the anvil. We are hammering the ingots together to weld them, and thus we made a double ingot. The texture is backed. Yeah, we need at least 7 of these double ingots made of copper for the anvil. Using the 7 double ingots, we crafted our first copper anvil. With a copper anvil, it is possible to shape ingots to get tools. The tool we need for wool are shears. They are made from 2 blades, and the blades are the parts that we are actually gonna forge. First, we warm up the ingots until they are hot enough to work on. Let me explain the mechanics here. There are 2 arrows, the red one and the green one. The red arrow is our objective and the green arrow is our progress. We want the arrows to match. But at the same time, there are some rules you have to follow, and these are displayed in 3 frames on the top. Sometimes a particular button must be used the last, or other might be used the first. There you go, that's the first blade. We are moving to the second one. There's a plugin to make this easier. You can put that on your game. It's fair game, I think. I haven't, because I am a fairly stupid person. The 2 blades are ready to be welded together. Once the heat is enough, we weld them by hammering, and bros, we've got shears. From this very moment, we aren't casting anymore. The forge is the way, well, kinda, but you will know about that in the far future. Okay, we are back with the animals, we are sharing, here it is, wool, another step in the tech tree for domestication. I wanna make something with the wool. We can do some work on the armor we made earlier. We can prepare the armor for winter, covering said armor in warm, soft wool. To use the wool, we need to transform the wool into strings. We are back in the workshop to cook a spindle, which is a tool for that job. It looks like this in real life. The strings are obtained like so, using the spindle. Then we insulate the leather with a string, and here they are. Before jumping to the next chore, we kinda have a problem with the crops we have to deal with, because I didn't take into account how hot it can be. So, as you can see, some crops are dying. I took out the garlic and the beets, everything else is growing just fine. I will make a spreadsheet for the crops and I will put a screenshot right here for y'all. And for the next thing to do, I do have a nest right here, which I made earlier with lumber and straw. Let's put the nest with the ducks, and now we gotta wait. And after a while, we got an egg. We could eat this thing, but I'd rather let it hatch to get a new duck. But in any case, and for the most part, we can declare domestication as finished. But in any case, this is the end of the Copper Age. Before that, however, I want to make a backup of this world to fly and to take screenshots of the base. Okay, here we are. Let me explain a little what we are seeing right now. That thing over there is the farm with the crops, the fruit bushes and the coral. And that over there is the workshop with the anvil and the forge. But that's all, I think. Thanks for watching the video and I hope to see you here for the next one.